Marinero. Schwab beat him to the ball. Brian Haynes ran into Tanner. The foul called. They'll have a free kick just outside the yellow line. You gotta love Brian Haynes. 33 years old from New York. The first ever pick for this attack team back when they were in Atlanta. He was a rookie of the year. Shantred, good turn. Fired the shot blocked by Dragicevic, who came into the action with 14 blocks. Tanner. Runs wasted no time with extra touches on the ball. There, Marinero space, look out! Phillips able to answer.
And Hector taking that shot just beyond the arc. That would have been a three-pointer. And as you said, Ed, Cleveland looking to go right at Kansas City on the dribble.
This is Carbonera. Marinero posting. Wade on him. Tries to turn. Wade there. Can't poke it back. Got a shot from Marinero. Now a race for the ball.
And Hector, ever the opportunist, almost toe poked that one home.
Got Schweitzer, one of the leaders in penalty minutes in the regular season. He has only 4 in the playoffs, so he's toned his act down. Fred Phillips, 26 years old, 5'11", 190 pounds. Was called into duty by the attack after Warren Westcoat broke an arm early in the season. Headers, Haynes, Miller stepped in. Here come the crunch. Jasowski had it behind him, holds off the mark. Here comes Haynes. Ketters wins the race. Eddie Carmi. Dump it in to Jeff Rogers. A battle there. John Ball showing us what he's got.
That's why he's in the game, because of that quickness. We talked about Kansas City's forwards, and Ball showing you right there that he can move as well.
Miller again with an attack to goal. Here comes Hanser, the follow-up. Oh, Miller was at the back stick and had one slide through his leg.
Well, I don't know if he actually saw that shot. Schwab was in front of him. He might have screened Miller. And Miller also on his off foot. He's a left-sided player.
John Ball is wasting no time showing all these new viewers what he's capable of. He went to South Connecticut State, a Division II team that won the D2 championship last year and his freshman year, and he was a key member of both championships. This is Chantret. Ball marking there. Double team help, Hanser. Squirts out Limniadis, his right foot, it went wide. There is Carbonera. And they get it back to Orr. Late in the first quarter, a 3-point goal by Gutierrez. The difference in this game right now at 5-2. Carbonera will dump it high. Gutierrez heads it down. Nice job there. Wade stepped in and made the block. Wes Wade has been deep in his own end. A lot. Brian Lofton on for his first shift. This is Jason Farrell. To Lofton. Three-pointer, he scores!
Well, Lofton comes back with a three-pointer for Kansas City to tie this game. Just 2 seconds before the end of the first quarter. Watch Lofton with one touch. Uses Dragicevic as a screen, and Wade wisely lets that ball go in at the far post. Watch again, Lofton from three-point range.
A huge goal for the Kansas City attack. Just 2 ticks left on the first quarter clock. And when this first 15 minutes comes to a close, we're going to have a tie contest. Are they going to say it's tipped in? They only put up 2 points on the scoreboard. Maybe Wes Wade tapped it in. Yes, indeed. They're going to say Wade got a piece of it.
And the crowd definitely doesn't agree with this one, but it was hard to tell from our angle. Wade was definitely at the far post. But it's going to be Wade from Lofton at 14:58. Regardless, a big goal. Now Steve Siomis is coming over to the penalty timekeeper. And we might get a clarification, but you see Lofton from outside the arc, just outside the arc. I don't think the question is whether it was outside the arc, but whether that ball was tipped in by Wade at the far post. Steve Siomis, Ron Corey, 2 or 3. It's still going to be a big goal for Kansas City, momentum-wise. And now they're going to, just what we said before the game, let's hope they don't have to talk to the captains, and here we are. They're going to have to do it. And now Miller a little upset. You see the shot, definitely from outside the arc. The question is whether Wade at the far post deflected that ball in. You see Wes right there, and really tough to tell from that angle, but let's have a second look.
You're not going to tell there, but Tommy Tanner has just received probably a misconduct penalty. Crunch has had their run-ins with officials in the playoffs, and that might have knocked them off their game, but we're underway, or are we? Bruce Miller is wondering what's going on, too. But they gave the goal to Lofton, his first three-pointer of the playoffs, second of the year. And it's important now for Cleveland to not lose their composure. They came out and played a good first quarter on the road, tied at the end of one. We'll try to get all this sorted out, but right now it's 5-5 after one. One quarter in the books, the statistics after 15 minutes. And you take a look at the restart chances. Both teams with 5. Nothing on the board either way, but a big three-point goal for Kansas City with just 2 seconds left by that man there, Brian Lofton. And the discussion, Ed, was whether that ball was tipped in by Wade at the far post, and Steve Siomas ruled it wasn't, so it's a three-pointer for Kansas City. Kansas City only had 23-point goals during the regular season, tied for last, but they have 9 in the playoffs. A little surprising they only had 20 with guys like Haynes and Wade, Schwab from the back that can really fire it. Kevin Ketter's on the ball. Three-pointer, Carmi. Oh. They were saving all those three-pointers for the playoffs. A new twist to the attack. Eddie Carmi. In fact, Haynes has scored 3 three-point goals in this year's playoffs himself. Kevin Ketter's with 2. Eddie Carmi has 1. Headed out by Carbonera. Another restart for Kansas City. Down in the attack, they're Gordon Hunyak with 124 points during the regular season. And the difference between Kansas City on their restarts is they don't bring players on the field. They'll stay with the 5 guys they have out there. Cleveland likes to get the players they want on the field. Schwab making sure Doug Miller. Important to buy that extra few seconds to set a play up. Schwab, the chip. Hunyak will have to take it high off the glass. Tries to turn Carbonera. Cleveland did a nice job of taking away Kansas City's options off that restart. It's important to get in the passing lanes, make them beat you from the outside. Shantret left it for Hunyak. It got cleared to the midfield. With a strong move. Get out of my way. Here I come. Hunyak. Double team help from Dusowski out high. One-timer. It's in the seat. You know, Art, one thing about restarts as we sit here in the second quarter of Game 1 of the NPSL Finals. We're at Kemper Arena. It's Game 1. We're tied at 5 early in the second quarter. It's the best-of-7 series. All right, you know, one reason that Kansas City might not be high on the restart list is that, according to the NPSL rules, it's one pass and a goal constitute a restart goal. Kansas City likes to knock the ball around a little bit, so they won't get all the restart goals that maybe Cleveland. Well, you're exactly correct. A lot of their goals come after 2 or 3 passes on the restart. Lofton on his way. Just missed wide. And technically, they don't credit you with a restart unless it's just one pass, as you said, or a direct shot. You see Cleveland do that so often. Carriage to Marinero for the shot, and that's a restart. Wade has a stab. Lofton comes on in. A battle with Dwan Bader on for his first shift in a red uniform. Tommy Tanner will be out the next 5 minutes, or probably 3 minutes at this point, for the misconduct he took at the end of the first quarter. Dragicevic called for the foul. It's a place, as we mentioned, you want to commit the foul. Well, I mentioned Cleveland probably wouldn't be as physical as St. Louis was. Certainly their defenders will be. They don't have the forwards that like to rough it up like St. Louis has.
but their back players are Dragicevic, Schweitzer.
Little dance by Gutierrez. Marinero looking for space against John Limniadis. Hauser stepped in. Boy, great stuff from Gutierrez to take it down. We're at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. Game 1 of the NPSL Finals between the Cleveland Crunch and the Kansas City Attack. And to this point, we're tied at 5 apiece early in the second quarter. Each team has a pair of 2-point goals and a pair of threes. Marinero on the volley from Carriage. Look out, this is a breakaway for West. Wade with Carriage trying to catch up. Wade kicked out by Orff. Lofton couldn't handle that rebound.
Well, Kansas City with a counterattack off Cleveland's restart. And remember, the last man back for Cleveland is Zoran Carriage, who's hobbled by that sore right knee. And Wade got behind him that time, but Otto Orff bails out Carriage with a big save.
Over, stepped in. Haynes carries on the left footer. He missed it wide by about 5 feet to Shantrit. Tries to beat Gutierrez. It skipped off his foot.
Well, Cleveland was fortunate that time because you give Brian Haynes a left-footed shot from that distance, he's going to bury it about 7 out of 10 times. That time he missed the target.
To Shantrit. A battle with Chris Hanser up ahead. Orff will scoop it up. Couldn't get it past to Shantrit cleanly. Hanser, nice ball. Gutierrez, a bounce. Here comes Fairley. Shoots. Phillips knocked it down. The rebound underside of the crossbar by Hanser on the side volley.
Well, Kansas City was fortunate that time because Shantrit went for the steal at midfield off that Orff pass and created a 3-on-2 for Cleveland. And Hanser just a bit unfortunate to hit the underside of the bar.
Here's a look at the break.
Otto with a nice save going down with that right leg.
Back to action poked out by Dragicevic. That was Schweitzer back there. Orff from Schwab. They play it again.
And Schwab, before he shot that ball, Ed, took a quick look to see what Cleveland players were behind him.
Dusaski drills one. And we are seeing a whole load of shots and end-to-end action in this game.
And Schwab very careful about when he wants to go forward. He doesn't want to allow Cleveland to counterattack him 2-on-1. And here's that Cleveland rush, 3-on-2. You see there, the initial save by Phillips, and the hands are just a bit unfortunate to hit that one off the underside of the bar.
Schweitzer won't be able to get up and get that one as Todd Dusaski sent it out. Well, we were expecting a high-paced game, especially that's the way that Cleveland likes to play. A lot of times Kansas City will take that away and slow it down. They've got into a shooting match. Shots on goal, wow.
Well, I remember when Kansas City beat Cleveland 3 years ago in the final. One thing that Zoran Savic told me in that series is they needed to possess the ball against Cleveland. The best way to take their offense out of the game is keep possession of the ball and make them chase defensively.
This is 19-year-old Todd Dusaski. His twin brother Troy brought in from Minnesota by Bruce Miller. Miller was selected from to coach the Cleveland Crunch and follow against Hunyek.
You mentioned Dusaski and Hanser, a couple role players for Cleveland. Young players have really played well during the regular season. Now they're getting their first taste of NPSL finals. Kansas City's got a few role players over on their bench as well. We'll talk about later, but if any of these role players can come up big.
Dragicevic for the restart. It's a 2-pointer, and the Crunch at their third lead of the game, 7-5.
Well, you mentioned Dragicevic earlier liking to come forward. And off the restart, carries to Dragicevic, and Cleveland has their first restart goal.
7-5 lead for the Crunch. Will return.
Play with the soccer ball of the pros, Candace, the official soccer ball of the National Professional Soccer League. Guaranteed for long-lasting high performance. Hand-stitched for superior quality, uniquely designed. Candace, the soccer ball of the pros. Available at soccer specialty stores everywhere. When soccer is the game, Candace is the name. Candace, the official soccer ball of the National Professional Soccer League. Candace for your team or league. A soccer ball that's one kick ahead of all the others.
Shootout, the official magazine of the NPSL, is packed with information on America's premier indoor soccer league. Photos of your favorite players, league records, and statistics are all at your fingertips in Shootout. Send your check or money order for $5, which includes shipping and handling, to NPSL Properties, 229 3rd Street Northwest, Canton, Ohio, 44702. And get your collector's copy of the limited special playoff edition that previews all 8 playoff teams. Order your copy of Shootout magazine today.
Here's another look at the restart goal.
And you see Karic playing it to the cowboy, Dragicevic, and first time, we talked about him liking to hit that shot first time. And Cleveland right back on top, 7-5.
Oscar actually led all defenders in scoring back in 1991 when he was with the Detroit Rockers with 81 points. Jason Farrell forces Orff to make a big stop. That was ticketed for the upper corner. Lemniatis stepped in and got deflected out. The finals continue. Game 2 again from Kemper, April 22nd. Game time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
Now Kansas City can have their chance on a restart. Just saw Cleveland convert. Ketter's on the ball. Haynes to his right. Schwab to the left. Now it's going to be Haynes.
Haynes just over the bar. He can't touch that.
And he did.
He needed to, though.
You're right, because it would have been a counterattack from Cleveland the other way.
This is Otto Orff. Otto assisted on that early goal from Gutierrez. The three-pointer, the Crunch with a 2-point lead. Crunch in the attack have met 14 times prior. This is Tanner, a great turn along the board. Marinel tipped it in!
Well, we talked about Hector being opportunistic earlier in the game, and that time, perseverance pays off with a little toe poke. Phillips and 2 Kansas City defenders were in the area, but Hector somehow managed to toe poke that one by, and Cleveland jumps out to a 9-5 lead. Miller with the rebound, and there's Hector with a little toe poke off Phillips' right leg. And Kansas City has already scored Cleveland has already scored 9 points here 6 minutes into the second quarter against a team that only gave up an average of 8.3 points per game during the regular season.
Dragicevic and Marinero score 52 seconds apart, and that's going to prompt a timeout from Zoran Savic. The 2 games that Kansas City lost, they gave up big. We're going to take a break and return. 4-point lead for the Crunch. Game 1 of the NPSL Finals. Cleveland with a 9-5 lead over Kansas City. We're in the second quarter. 2 goals by the Crunch. 52 seconds apart. Broke open a 5-5 tie. Each team has a 3-pointer in the contest. 2-on-1. Dragicevic and Marinero against Lemniatis. Dragicevic, the pass behind Marinero. That would have been easy pickings. Now a 2-on-1, maybe a 3-on-1 for Kansas City. It's Carmine at the controls. Haynes, now Ketter's back. Oh, one good bad pass deserves another.
Yeah, Ketters should have either shot that ball or played it to Haynes at the far post. He elected the third option, and that was to try to give it back to Carmine.
A 3-on-1. Won't see the attack mess those up too often.
And now Cleveland with numbers of their own.
Here's Tanner. Hauser gets back into the play. 2-on-2 trailing is Gutierrez. He's open if Tanner can spot him. Good spin along the boards. Tanner continues, gets out of the double team.
And Tanner trying to take a dive and draw a foul, but Steve Siomas is having none of it. Not going to give away that cheap foul.
Here comes Haynes. Help from Eloy Salgado just down for his first shift. Cut it to the back stick. Salgado, he's got moves. Let's see what he's got here. He'll shoot it wide. Haynes came away with it.
Salgado does have moves. It's important Cleveland double teams them in their defensive third. You don't want to allow Salgado to go one-on-one.
Early ball. Marinero on a break. He's coming in on Phillips. Farrell trying to catch him. Marinero
of space on the counterattack, as that time it was Marinero who broke in alone, but Phillips came up big.
Eloy Salgado most of the year with Milwaukee and Chicago. Great ball, Lofton! Big stop by Orr! Oh, is that sweet?
Well, Salgado comes on and immediately is paying off with a lovely little chip that time. A good first shift by Eloy.
Brian Lofton just loves playing on the deuce. He has scored some spectacular goals. Couple against St. Louis on side volleys. That's over and back. They're on a flying volley to goal.
Well, that pass was probably a little bit too good by Salgado. You mentioned Lofton likes to score those side volleys, and that ball was right in stride.
Carriage, left footer, knocked out by Phillips. Phillips has had to make some big stops on some cannon shots.
And I'm surprised that Phillips even saw that shot as Carriage let that fly through 3 men in the Kansas City wall.
The high-paced game continues. Lofton and Carriage along the boards.
Good play by Lofton not to foul along the boards.
Dragicevic with some inspired play. Hanser. Chris Hanser, 6'2", 190 pounds, only 23 years old. Carriage and DeChantret. Lee holds off Carriage. The long distribution. Wade slips in behind Marinero. Tough ball to control and go to goal. I think they're playing some good defense. Otto Orff, starting goalkeeper for the American Division All-Stars. And Wichita.
See the shots on goal favoring Cleveland thus far.
10-3 in the second quarter.
And Otto has done a nice job of really keeping his composure, working the ball out of the back. You mentioned he likes to throw long, but a couple times he's put it down to his feet and given quality passes out of the back to spring the attack.
We showed you a little bit early on that the two teams split and each one in the opposing building. Cleveland has been more successful at winning in Kansas City than Kansas City has been in Cleveland. That win that the Attack had early in the season was their first in 6 games in the history of these two teams. Cleveland with 1 restart goal. Kansas City still looking for theirs. They'll have their 11th chance right here. Wes Wade will trigger Ketters. He hit it well, blocked by an on-rushing rebound. He scored! Kevin Ketters on his own rebound. It's 9-7.
Well, Ed, they don't count that as a restart goal, but it's a goal that was set up off the restart as Ketters' initial shot is blocked, but the rebound comes right back to him. And the All-Star buries it in the lower right-hand side.
Kevin Ketters has a pair of goals, and the Attack now within 2. Well, we mentioned that Kansas City had the best overall record in the league this year. That doesn't always translate into a championship.
Yeah, you see here the team with the best regular season record. Only St. Louis has gotten through and been in the finals that year, losing to Cleveland. Zorn Savic taking a timeout here to set up a restart opportunity. Let's see what he drew up on the chalkboard.
Schwab will be on the ball. The run by Haynes, follow-up Ketters. He struck it well, just missed it wide. Hunyak side volley. Tanner there to help out Orff. And Otto took it on the bounce. They'll play it for Gutierrez. Good collection there. Nipped by Hunyak. Ran into Tano. That's a strong 2-footed tackle. The foul will be called. Good call. Early start to Shanter to race. Slide tackle Marinero.
A lot of players on the turf on that one.
And Tanner came in hard with both feet on Hunyak. And DeChantret ran into Schweitzer.
Well, neither team is going to back down here. DeChantret puts a hard tackle on Schweitzer.
Otto with a thump. Marinero causing traffic in front of Phillips, but Phillips
expect it anyway. Phillips showing you some of his outdoor abilities, going high. Pull that one down.
Carmine. Schweitzer tried to play early. He mishit it. It'll give the attack a restart.
Watch this tackle by Shantred on Schweitzer.
Now, if that was in the regular season, there might have been some extracurriculars there. But Schweitzer has done a nice job keeping things in check.
Shantred knows before this series is through that he's going to feel a few of those shots from Schweitzer, so he wants to get a few in on him early.
Let's see what Brian Haynes does with this. Plays for Ketters, right-footed three-pointer, missed wide.
Good set play, a decoy run by Schwab, and then Ketters coming in late.
We always talk about what a great ball striker that Hector Marinero is. You don't see Kevin Ketters miss-hit too many on one-time strikes either. Tanner slipped it ahead to Miller. He's got space coming in left side. Toe poke, he scored! Doug Miller's second goal of the game, a two-pointer, and the Crunch back up to a 4-point lead.
Well, I don't believe that Brett Phillips thought that Miller was going to shoot that ball, because Miller had Tanner at the far post, and right there he's looking to get it to him. You see Miller kind of leaning to his left, and just that hesitation allowed the ball to slip through his legs. But give Miller credit with a nice little toe poke. That's the second toe poke we've seen from Cleveland tonight. Marinero scored one earlier in this quarter, and now it's Miller with his second goal to go along with an assist for 5 points.
Tommy Tanner has a pair of assists this evening. Doug Miller, key to his season, he stayed healthy the majority of the year, playing in 38 games, and that's something that hasn't happened a lot for Doug Miller in the past. Even now, he's suffering and playing through a knee injury. Strong play by Nate Hauser over and back. Whoa, will be called on Dewan Bader. Kind of a late whistle there.
Well, it was an important goal for Cleveland because it really seemed as if Kansas City was starting to gain some momentum.
Restart. Lofton scored! Brian Lofton with his second.
Well, that is a restart goal, as it's Lofton this time to bring the momentum back Kansas City's way with a minute 45 left before halftime, and it's just a simple play. Wade to Lofton, and he side foots it right up over Otto's head. Otto may have been screened that time by John Ball.
Brian Lofton with 5 points tonight, a three-pointer and a two. And it's now a 2-point game. The attack not allowing the Crunch to get away here.
We said earlier, they're the type of team that just likes to hang around, stay in the game, and then their defensive intensity pays off late in the game. And look at Zoran Savic really getting in the youngster's ear, tell him, keep it going, you're doing well. But reminding them that the night is still young, let's keep playing for the full 4 quarters.
Hauser off the boards and skipped on past both Hunyak and Rogers.
And you can tell that Kansas City has really put an emphasis on playing balls off that backboard. That's about the 7th or 8th ball they've hit off the boards in this half. They actually scored their first goal, and Ketters played one in off the boards from Hunyak.
Dewan Bader. This is Salgado. Wade couldn't get it all. A loose ball. Salgado, look out! Played to Hunyak.
Salgado.
What a lovely bit of football, Artie.
Showing a bit of skill on him, eh?
2 quick goals for KC. And we're in the final minute of the first half. Marinero, Gutierrez back heel. 45 seconds between those two Kansas City goals.
Well, it was Cleveland that scored 2 goals in less than a minute earlier in the quarter, and now Kansas City comes back and answers.
Marinero looking to steal one in front of goal, and they're going to call a foul against Marinero.
Now, what a great individual effort by Salgado. And we talked about the role players earlier on, and Savic, give him credit for inserting Salgado in the lineup, trying to create a little spark, and Eloy pays off with that skill.
Armin was able to recover from what was potentially a dangerous situation. Dragicevic, or Schweitzer, cleared that away. Quick touch by Tanner got him out of trouble. And there's the horn. We're at halftime. What a game going here. 11 apiece as we hit the halftime break. It's showtime in the second half. Cleveland will attack left to right. They're in the red with the black shorts. Kansas City in white from head to toe with some blue and red trim. Nate Hauser, Henry Gutierrez had to put up high. He'll be called for the foul.
We haven't seen any 2-minute penalties thus far, resulting in shootouts and power plays. Pretty nice job of officiating in the first half by Steve Siomas and his crew. The only real question was that tip-in on the three-pointer, whether that was 2 or 3 by Wade.
The Chantret to track it down. Schweitzer saw an opening, stepped in to make the tackle, and they get it back to Otto Orff. Otto got an assist on an early goal in this game. He had 19 assists last season, which is an NPSL record for a goalkeeper. Tommy Tanner plays for Marinero. Hector using the boards. Hauser all over him, and a foul will be called. Here is a dangerous spot. The ball rolled away. Schweitzer goes up. Karich will race on, and Kansas City will reset the ball as quickly as possible.
And Zoran asked for 15 feet to buy that extra time, and this is a dangerous spot on the floor to be committing fouls.
Karich, the chip. Marinero, the foul. He missed the rebound. Karich just missed wide. Marinero back on it. Zoran took a swing.
Well, had either of those shots been on target, they would have probably ripped the back of the net. But neither Hector or Zoran could find the target on both those strikes.
You know, that place where the ball was restarted, the hardest part of the field for Karich to get on, because the Cleveland bench is all the way at the far side down to our left here. He's got to come all the way across the field.
And that's a problem they'll have in this building, Ed, because Kemper Arena is a lot bigger in size than the Convocation Center where Cleveland plays its home games. You mentioned Otto with those 17 or 18 assists he had. A lot of those come in that smaller Convocation Center where he's able to outlet the ball down the field quickly. If you think this is up-tempo, wait till they get back to Cleveland.
Games 3 and 4 will be played at the CSU Convocation Center. John Limniadis, Canadian international. There's another Canadian international, Bruce Miller. Played for his national team before a knee injury ended his career. Here's a break for Casey Haynes on the left foot across. Rogers stopped by Orff.
Well, Otto is shaken up a little bit as he came sliding across, but a great save by Orff as Haynes just didn't get enough on that pass. The pass was kind of bouncing a little bit, enabled Otto to slide across. But that chance created by great team speed from Kansas City. You see Haynes beat Carbonera down the floor, and that pass just not enough on it. But watch Otto come sliding across with a nice save on Rogers.
Restart for the Crunch. Marinero drilled it off the wall. Carbonera on it. He mishit it, and here comes Kevin Ketters. 3-on-2. Karich, one of the men back. The ball played by Ketters straight up the gut. Otto saw Marinero open, and Schwab just off the bench to stop that.
And once again, Kansas City trying to counter off Cleveland's restarts. All three Kansas City forwards were breaking forward on that last free kick.
Lofton tried for another spectacular piece.
And you mentioned Zoran staying on the field.
Here's Hauser. He drilled it off with a stop. Lofton pick it away. He scored!
Well, Cleveland is upset because they fell
The official soccer catalog of the NPSL is Eurosport, the fabled soccer traders. Get in on all the great soccer gear. Dial it up 1-800-447-0750. Brian Lofton had 10 points in the playoffs coming into the game. He has 7 today.
I was going to ask you think he's an unlikely hero? We've seen him score some great goals this year, but certainly putting on his best performance of the season in a great time in the first game of the NPSL Finals.
Lofton scored 66 points as a rookie last year to be a first-team all-rookie player. He added 20 more points during the regular season this year at 86, and he's put his stamp on this game. You know, Artie doesn't score those everyday routine goals, does he?
No, they always seem to have a bit of the spectacular in them.
Goran Hunyak will restart. Another Kansas City chance. Hires barely mishit it into the seats. Actually, he didn't mishit it into the seats. He hit it well into the seats.
You see Kansas City on an 8-2 scoring run. That was started by Ketters back in the second quarter.
Tanner pokes it in. Marinero holds off the Carmine mark. Haynes looking to double team, never got there. Dragicevic or Schweitzer won a race, took a bad hop for the crunch, a good one for the attack.
You got to admire the job Kansas City has done on Hector Marinero to limit him to just 1 goal.
Wade, a strong move. They're going to call a foul against Dragicevic, giving Kansas City another restart chance. They had 16 at the half.
And here's the foul again. Wade just going by Dragicevic. Dragicevic has nothing else to do but foul him. And Kansas City's team speed is really starting to pay off in the offensive third.
Jeff Rogers. Marinero jumped on a loose ball. Couldn't find Gutierrez. Knocked down Rogers.
Just mentioned Hector Marinero came into this game having scored 27 goals in 7 playoff games. Almost an average of 4 goals a game. And to hold him to just 1 goal so far is an outstanding job.
Schweitzer. Parasker, the Cowboy. On the run, the left footer off the boards. Haynes there, it skipped on by. Schweitzer pounced on it, he missed it. 2-on-1, Haynes and Salgado against Tanner. Dragicevic is back left footer, he scores a 3-pointer! An 11-2 run for KC.
Well, Haynes and Salgado came down 2-on-1, and about 10 feet from the yellow line, Brian Haynes made up his mind that he was going to shoot this ball, and look at the left-footed strike. A 3-pointer to beat Otto to the left-hand side, and for Haynes, that's his 4th 3-point goal in the playoffs. And that ball was struck perfectly, absolutely no spin on that ball.
On the dead run, Brian Haynes with, as Art told you, his 4th 3-pointer of the playoffs.
And once again, that team speed of Kansas City.
There's a steal. Ketter stopped the rebound. Lofton!
Well, Kemper Arena is absolutely rocking, Ed, and I believe Cleveland needs to take a timeout as Otto is asking his teammates what the heck is going on. You see him make the initial stop, but Lofton with another side volley.
Another piece of beauty from Brian Lofton.
Well, Otto doing all he can to keep it out. You saw Ketters with the initial challenge, and then Lofton. He is just going absolutely crazy today. And there were Kansas City players celebrating all over the field. And Cleveland wisely takes the timeout to try to regain their composure.
The Crunch once led this game 11-7.
So it's been 11 unanswered for Kansas City to take an 18-11 lead. And Cleveland needs to concentrate now, Ed, on playing good defense here in the next few minutes. They can get it back defensively. You know Hector, Tanner, and Miller are going to score their goals.
Schwab scores on the volley. It's coming from all over the place. Kansas City has opened it up.
Well, everybody getting into the act for Kansas City. You see their captain, Jimmy Schwab, known for his tough defensive play, shows you that he can also strike a ball. As he scores, I believe, a two-pointer off the restart. Let's take another look. Just a chip over the top, and then Schwab just inside the arc. And the ball certainly bouncing Kansas City's way here in the second half.
The attack has scored 3 quick ones, and they have the crunch reeling.
And they're scoring them so quick, Ed, it's hard to write them all down, but I believe that was Haynes that assisted that one. Actually, it was Ketters that played that ball over the top.
Todd Dostoski. He took it down. Composure Miller came darting through. Got a toe poke, and Phillips knocked it down this time.
And if you're keeping score at home, don't take your eyes off the set, because you're going to miss a goal or two, as I just did.
Carmine, lofted, look out. Anything could happen when he touches the ball. Farrell was making the back stick run. Here is Hanser getting into play with Miller on the ball. Farrell ran him off. Gutierrez couldn't make the tackle.
And once again, you see that team speed for Kansas City.
Dragicevic, 3-on-2. Salgado busted to get back in the play. Dragicevic got...
And not a very good decision that time by Dragicevic, as he had Hanser to his left.
Farrell coming in on ball. John Ball, the rookie, made the stop. The Crunch will play early. Here is Hanser. Ran into Schwab. And they get it to Phillips. KC has outscored Cleveland 9-0 in this third quarter. And we're not even halfway through yet. That's an over and back. It'll give Cleveland a restart. Plenty of time for Zoran Karic to get on the floor. Wes Wade has an assist. Karic, a left footer, banged into the wall. He and Hunyak will go after it.
And a smart foul by Zoran to not allow Hunyak to go by him, because it would have been another numbers up situation. We've been talking about it all game. Kansas City looking to counter Cleveland off Cleveland's restarts.
You know, in those situations, too, when the Crunch gets down and frustrated, there's the third quarter summary.
Shots taken 6, goals 4 is 4. Pretty nice ratio for Kansas City.
Gutierrez on the run. He'll track it down in the corner for Dragicevic. Wade backtracking. Marinaro scored! Oh, a huge goal for Cleveland to get back in this. Marinaro with his second goal of the game on the left-footed volley. It stops that 9-0 run of the quarter. Now a 7-point game.
Well, I was just about to say, as we take another look at Hector's goal there, Schwab, actually it was Hauser, looked like he wanted to grab it with his hands, but Hector with a nice strike with the left foot. Just about to say, Kansas City would be wise to keep a little bit of possession with a 9-point lead and make Cleveland chase them. You don't want to keep running and gunning with Cleveland, or you can get in trouble.
We'll be back. There's the story. It's a 7-point Kansas City lead. Now, the Crunch is known for putting up big numbers. The attack shooting back a little of the Cleveland medicine.
Well, you don't want to tell your team to stop going forward, but it would be wise for Kansas City to keep possession of the ball and make Cleveland chase them, and it should open up things in the back.
Gutierrez with a move around Haynes. Sprints into space. The toe poke kicked out by Phillips. Crunch using that toe poke effectively in game one here. Haynes lost the ball. Dragicevic attacks. Tried to walk around Schwab. The attack captain not buying any of that. Dragicevic carries on and finally got cleared by Carmine.
Well, Dragicevic really showing a lot of effort. Look at him all over the floor.
Great ball from Salgado. Headers, left wing. Stopped it up neatly. Tried to play back to a trailing Haynes. Gutierrez there, and he comes away. Marinero behind the defense. Slowed the ball, looking for some help. Crunch will possess. Marinero checks two. He'll use that patented move in a crowd. Salgado with a good defensive stop. This is Glenn Carbonera. Played collegiately at Rutgers with Alexi Lallis. Here comes Glenn in space. He had trouble with the first touch. Marinero tried the volley. Hanser! He knocked it in the seat.
Well, Cleveland with a couple good shifts. You see there the score by quarters. Kansas City 9 unanswered points, but Cleveland with the last goal, and now with a nice shift trying to get some momentum going back their way.
One thing that Zoran Savic said is that, you know, we've played a lot of teams with a lot of different styles, and we've played very well against all of them. I would think from an outside point of view that a game of this pace is one that plays into Cleveland's hands, although Kansas City is showing that they can run a gun with the best of them.
Well, they can play like this at home. I think when they go to Cleveland, they'll be a little bit more patient going forward, but at home, you want to take it to the opposition.
Doug Miller in a race now with Limniadis and Hauser back in defensive support. Great play from John Limniadis, and he'll play early. There's Lofton flying through the air again. I think that guy might have wings. Back heel to get out of trouble. Farrell to Lofton, across, and ball goes to Shantrek.
Shantrek's going to get credit for the goal, but and you see some of his fan club right there. But once again, it was Lofton, and Otto Orr probably thought Lofton was shooting this ball the way he scored some of his goals, but he finds Shantret at the back post.
Lee did a great job of waiting for that ball and drilling it with the coconut.
And it was a nice pass by Farrell to start that play. Farrell to Lofton, and then to Shantret with the finish.
Lee's first goal of the game. Brian Lofton now has 4 goals and an assist. All Brian Lofton needs is a one-pointer to complete this cycle. How about that? 22-13, 9-point lead. Matches the biggest of the game for Kansas City. They didn't lead in this game. There's your hairdo, Art.
Shantret drinking a soda on the side in his fan club.
Rogers with the touch just wide. The volley, underside of the crossbar. It's on that big stop by Orr. Oh, that was a huge stop from Otto Orr.
I don't even know if he saw that shot till it was about 3 feet from him.
Here's Wade again with space. Rogers. He's having balls knock all over him tonight.
Kansas City had numbers there, but that pass from Wade, just a little bit too much pace on it for Rogers to handle.
Rogers starts into space. Carmine or trailing Ketters. Ketters in his 5th year out of Rockhurst College. He's a Quincy, Illinois native. Not too far from here. Own yellow line for Marinero, looking for an opening. Now has a little bit of time. Gutierrez and Schwab turns to face. Henry dancing. Schwab not giving him an inch. We'll try it again. A no look outside of the foot pass doesn't work, and here come the attack. They play ahead. Ketters behind the defense at the yellow line, the left footer.
Once again, Ed, team speed paying off.
exciting soccer action available on home video. Get ready to smash, crash, and goal with balls of fire. No soccer fan can afford to miss this sensational home video. Cheer all the heart-pounding plays, the greatest goals, the wildest kicks, and all the outrageous antics of the game as you've never seen it before. Call 1-800-80-KICKS now for Balls of Fire, the hottest, fastest, and most intense sports video you'll find. Don't miss your chance to experience all the blazing action, cool moves, and explosive entertainment of NPSL soccer. Get Balls of Fire for only $14.95 plus shipping and handling. All major credit cards accepted. This video is available only through this exclusive TV offer. If you like your sports action fast, serious, and fun, call 1-800-80-KICKS now. Balls of Fire. Catch it.
Play with the soccer ball of the pros, Candace, the official soccer ball of the National Professional Soccer League. Guaranteed for long-lasting high performance. Hand-stitched for superior quality, uniquely designed. Candace, the soccer ball of the pros. Available at soccer specialty stores everywhere. When soccer is the game, Candace is the name. Candace, the official soccer ball of the National Professional Soccer League. Candace for your team or league. A soccer ball that's one kick ahead of all the others.
This is a... Watch the initial pass here by Haynes to set Ketter's free. From the yellow line, a beautiful pass to split the Cleveland defense. That was Gutierrez and Schweitzer, and then Ketters does the rest.
Every goal tonight has been a cracker. Every single one of them. This has been a treat for everybody but Cleveland Crunch fans to this point. Oh, there's one that the Crunch stole. Tanner is saying, give us 3 on that, but Brett Phillips in the Kansas City defense.
And you were talking about a treat for the Cleveland fans, and there it is. Ketter's just knocking the ball back to Phillips, but in his own goal. Actually, it was to Shantred.
They're going to call the goal as Schweitzer played across.
And they were actually asking for 3 because they said no Cleveland player touched it inside the arc, but it looked like Marinero may have touched that ball with his toe.
That's a very good point. The ball was played by Schweitzer and then hit by a Kansas City attack player.
And that's what they're going to discuss. If we can have
that
another...
could be the weirdest 3 ever.
If we can have another look from the initial pass, you'll see that Marinero may have touched that ball with his... It's a pass. It wasn't a deflection.
Jim Schwab's not happy with it.
Now, had Marinero not touched the ball, it should be a 3-pointer, but I think it took everyone by surprise, including the referees. And Siomas is trying to explain it to Captain Jim Schwab right now.
He's saying 3.
Let's take another look. Now, here's Schweitzer passing the ball from outside the 3-point line. Hector, actually, was Tanner reaching for it. The ball didn't touch anyone. That should be a 3-pointer.
And it is.
Correctly, Steve Siomas has called it a 3-pointer.
Ref Ron Corey discussing things with Tommy Tanner. It is indeed a 3, and Scott Schweitzer will say, I meant to do that.
Well, nice job by the referees to take a little extra time, discuss what happened, and come up with the correct call.
Scott Schweitzer's first 3-point goal of the season. Unassisted. It comes at 11:36. I don't think I've seen a weirder 3-point goal. And it's a restart goal as well, Art.
That's a restart goal, okay.
Marinero. Here comes Farrell. Pokes it into space. Another race. Tim Timon for his first shift for Cleveland. Hauser across. Farrell, one-timer. Blocked at the defense by Troy Desasky. Some fresh bodies into the fray for Cleveland. Hauser coming forward. Lofton to turn around. Otto there this time. He heads it away. Lofton and Tanner go at it. And the foul call against Brian Lofton.
Well, you mentioned Tima, who just came on the floor for his first shift, the all-time leader in games played in the playoffs. Block shots, and you just saw his partner, Troy Desasky, make a nice block on that Kansas City shot. So it's Tima and Desasky coming on in the back for Cleveland, who have really struggled this quarter defensively.
Farrell and Tima. Oh, nice work by Jason Farrell. Hunyak, great vision, plays early. Salgado will hold off Hanser, tries to turn him.
And at the one thing I like about Tima in this situation is his experience. He's been in the playoffs more than any other guy, and this is really what Cleveland needs right now, is someone to settle them down. Tima could provide that stabilizing influence.
Salgado took a whack or dove on it. Wow, we had a patch here of about a minute where not a lot was happening. Chance to catch a breath. Wow.
Well, Cleveland has given up 24 points. They now insert Tima in the game. Let's see how many Kansas City's able to put on the board from this point on.
Dragicevic went for the tackle. He missed it. It's a 3-on-1. The Shatran Hudniak missed it wide. You know, Art, as many goals as Kansas City has scored, think about the near misses they've had on golden chances.
Well, they have 24. They could have about 40 points right now, as they have had numbers up all game long.
I can think of a couple that Hudniak had. Chances. Tanner with a big goal. Oh, was that sweet. Tommy Tanner with the one touch, and the Crunch have come back to within 6.
Well, Tatanka, as he's known in Cleveland, with a nice finish. And Otto Orff with his second assist of the game. Watch this ball by Otto. A beautiful chip, and then Tanner on the turn one time to beat Phillips, and Cleveland is now only down 6.
The concentration to score a goal like that, holding off a defender on the run, and to slip it past Phillips. Phillips really is at Tanner's mercy there if he hits it well, and indeed he did.
Well, excellent call, Ed. It is very difficult to strike that ball coming over your head, but as you said, great concentration on the part of Tanner, and give Orff credit with a nice paced ball.
Here comes Kansas City. Rogers cut it back. Look out, Haynes, the right foot. Blocked at the defense by Dragicevic. Now a battle. Haynes got it in front. Ketters carries on.
Well, a good play by Dragicevic, because he may have gotten away from with a handball, but acted like that ball hit him in the stomach. The crowd was yelling for a handball, but no call.
There has been 20 points scored in this quarter. 13 for Kansas City, 7 for Cleveland. Orff will snag it high. 30 seconds left in the quarter. Hanser off the chest, nods it down. Dragicevic, Orff, one time.
Both keepers giving each other one a workout there on some high balls. We saw one slip over Phillips' head earlier in this quarter.
And a tangle along the boards, a restart for Kansas City. Late in the quarter once again.
We saw him score with 2 seconds left before halftime, and now, once again, with just 8 seconds, another chance.
Ketters got it in front. Dragicevic with a big stop. 4 seconds on the clock. That'll do it. Oh, man. Wild third quarter of play. We've got 15 minutes left. Don't go away. KC up by 6. It's game 1 of the NPSL Finals from Kemp Arena in Kansas City. Fourth quarter action. KC leading on the strength of a big 13-point third quarter. Carriage carries on. He's fouled. And a restart will be given to the Crunch.
And this is a big one for Cleveland. They want to get right back in it here. They need a goal off this restart.
Carriage surveying the situation. Got Bader in the corner, plays him, shoots, big stop by Phillips.
Well, he saw what you saw, Ed, and you called it. Phillips came out to cut down the angle.
Now the goalies putting on a little show. They said enough of the attackers getting all the spotlight. We're going to show you what we got. Brett Phillips is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Month for Kansas City and in the league. Kansas City had an 18-game winning streak from late November to the end of January. And it was actually the Crunch that busted that up with that 19-9 victory here in KC. The Attack also finished the regular season on an 8-game run as well.
Well, you mentioned earlier about this being Kansas City's 3rd game in 4 nights, but really carrying that momentum of that Game 5 win over St. Louis here tonight.
Big pass, barrel. Oh, Dragicevic stepped in just before Hudniak.
And take another look on the restart. Bader, but Phillips comes out, cuts down the angle.
KC will get a restart. Top of the D, Brett Phillips. 5'11", 190 pounds.
You see Siomis moving him back. He gave him a restart warning. Next time Cleveland would be shorthanded.
Headers just missed wide. And Devin Ketters will play outdoor in the MLS for the Kansas City Wiz. So he'll stay in town. Dragicevic stepped in. Was a bit fortunate that pass got through to Dwan Bader. Bader, one of about 3 or 4 guys that played at North Carolina State. Tom Tanner, Henry Gutierrez, Scott Schweitzer, the Wolfpack connection in Cleveland. Tima called for the foul, and they're going to give him the misconduct. Boy, that was a quick blue card.
Well, watch again. Now watch the reaction after the foul by Tima, and that's where he gets the penalty. Playing him strong on the boards. Now watch the reaction right there, and that's what the referee calls misconduct. And once again, it won't hurt the team. It's only going to be a 5v5, I believe.
It appeared that Tima said there's the restart chances, 2 apiece, but more for Kansas City. And it appeared to me that when Tima was pleading his case after that, he goes, I didn't say anything. It looked like he turned around and slapped his hands, but that was enough for Corey to pull the blue card.
Well, it was questionable, but you've got to keep your hands to your not show any outward reaction. It's going to be a misconduct, no power play. The team is going to have to sit for a few minutes, and he has really sparked him defensively since he's come on. Kansas City has not scored since late in the third quarter, so over 8 or 9 minutes without a goal for Kansas City, all since Tima has come on the floor.
Lofton poked it out. Looks like he collided knees. The future of the NFL picked on the news. Join Chris Berman, Joe Theismann, Frank James as they pick out the late-round sleepers in the NFL draft. Chris Myers reports from the Dallas Cowboys camp. Chris Mortensen is live in Miami. Andrea Kramer reports from Tampa. NFL Power is built through the draft. Catch it right here on the Deuce.
Well, 8 minutes to go, Ed. It's important for Cleveland that they get a goal within the next 2 shifts. They get down around 5 minutes. I think you'll see him go to the 6th attacker.
Phillips will play long. This time Tashantra drifted behind the defense. They've got Ketters open on the weak side. Orff darted out. And he'll play from his knees. Gutierrez with Farrell and Tashantra cut into space. And he's tripped up. That's a restart for the Crunch. And here comes Zoran.
And it's probably going to be one or the other cracking this shot for a 3.
Garage takes it with the left foot. It's blocked up and out. Another restart.
But a little bit closer to the goal. This time it's going to be top of the arc. You'll see Hector come over to Zoran's left. And Cleveland will probably try to take Hector away, but that's going to leave Carbonero free at the other side. But Z will probably try to find Hector on this one.
You see Tanner free, and now a defender over to take a little of his space away.
Schwab with a close eye on Marinero.
Let's see what kind of fake Carrots will make to get Schwab to bite. There's Hector. It's stopped by Phillips. Big stop from Brett Phillips.
And here comes KC.
Honyak. Right side Farrell. Takes a touch. Carbonero recovered, and Tanner will try and get it out.
Well, Farrell should have shot because Otto had guessed pass.
Kansas City not giving up on this ball. Look out, here comes Carmine Farrell. He missed it wide. And Gutierrez came away. Oh, man, this could be a lot worse for Cleveland. I guess everything evens out, though, when you hit all those crackers in the third quarter and everything's going in. Kansas City has certainly created.
You got to give that man there a lot of credit as well, as Otto has with about 5 or 6 spectacular saves, and now he's going to come forward and try to spark the offense as well. Let's see Orff all the way up in front of midfield.
We're late in the fourth quarter. We'll return. Restart for the Crunch as you look at Otto Orff, Zoran Karic at the controls. Zoran will play it off the backboard. Schwab there, Marinero across the goal mouth. Schweitzer backtracking. He megs him with a backfield, but it didn't find anybody in a red shirt. Orff came flying out. Bader is there to receive. Now Marinero with the prowling Schwab on him. Schwab wins that battle, and Rogers comes away. Dragicevic got a piece. Karic. Bader. Now Schweitzer. Schweitzer has that weird three-pointer in the game. Under 6 minutes to play. Karic and Rogers battling. Ketter's the only guy at the top of the box. Brian Haynes can't get around Dragicevic. Recovered nicely to make the tackle. Skipped around to tackle attempt. Bader there. Everybody in on the fun. Kansas City came away. Schweitzer with a big decision for Cleveland. Marinero on his way to goal into space. Bader there. His pass missed originally, but came off the boards.
Look at the moves by Z. He'll try to draw a foul down here if he can.
Schweitzer. For posting Marinero. Tries to spin. Kicked out by Phillips.
Great quickness by Hector to get the shot off with a man all over his back.
Nipped by Karic for Marinero. Double team help for Kansas City, and Wade wins the ball. We're under 5 to play. It's a 6-point KC lead. Salgado, that's a big foul taken there. Might have been a penalty, but no blue card. The next game, oh man, at Kemper again, April 22nd, game 2. Game time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
6 penalties in this game. We're talking to you guys.
Crunch a bit lucky. There was a foul. Lofton, 10 points tonight. Slid it in. Salgado tried to work a little magic with Lofton as he did with Hunyak early in the game.
I love how active Lofton is after he plays the ball. Always passes and then moves. That time was trying for the 1-2 with Salgado.
Coming down to 4 minutes to play. Carbonera, John Ball, Crunch in trouble. Carbonera takes a whack. DeShantra will track it down. Lee has a couple of points tonight.
We're down to 4 minutes, and it's got to be soon for the 6th attacker for Cleveland.
Farrell won the ball and scored! John Ball misplayed it off the glass, and Farrell made him pay.
Well, Ball forced back into action with Tima in the penalty box. And you see a little bit of inexperience on his part that time as he misplayed that ball off the boards, and Jason Farrell did the rest.
It's an 8-point lead late. There you see the score. Kansas City has opened up an 8-point lead, and Cleveland has gone to a 6th attacker. Hector Marinero wearing the jersey. The assist on that goal, Brett Phillips.
Well, both goalies now getting on the scorebook as Otto already has 2 assists on the evening, and now Phillips.
Dragicevic tried to hit a three-pointer and missed that one a bit. NHL Fire on Ice. Wayne Gretzky trying for his 5th Stanley Cup for the St. Louis Blues. Welcome Doug Gilmour and the Toronto Maple Leafs to the Kiel Center. Gretzky along with Fred Hall, Grant Fuhr looking to catch fire in the playoffs. And right now, Hector Marinero looking to light a fire for the Crunch. They need points, and they need them quickly.
See the 6th attacker comparison during the regular season. Cleveland with 3 goals scored, and they're going to need 3 at least. A couple 3s and a 2 would tie this game up.
Headers tries a long one. It's going to go out. The restart will come back to midfield. 1 one of the things that makes Kansas City so effective against the sixth attacker is their guys up front.
Yeah, and I was going to say also the experience that they have. You're talking about guys like Haynes and Wes Wade with the speed up front, but you've got on the floor now Haynes, Wade, Ketters, Carmine, I believe that is, in Schwab. So a lot of indoor experience on the floor for Kansas City. Not an easy team to be effective against with a sixth attacker.
So far, the Crunch really hasn't even gotten the ball past the half line in a dangerous spot.
And these two teams with the great records are not used to playing sixth attacker 4. Certainly have played a lot of sixth attacker against this season.
Here's Karich in front. Fakes looking for an opening, tried to slide it in. It didn't go. He carries on. It's blocked by Carmine. Just no openings.
And that might go in, Ed.
The curl just missed. Marinero back to get it. You see the story in the upper left corner. Down to 2 minutes.
And Zoran Karich has played an awful lot here in the second half, and I know he's hurt. It's going to be interesting to see how much this takes out of him going into game 2.
Marinero with a three-point attempt. Karich back in. Ketters will take his time. Try to find an opening. Zigging and zagging. Let's see if the Shantrin holds it up. He does. Sparking into space is Farrell. Gutierrez back to help. Marinero. Farrell. Big stop by Tanner. Oh, they're going to let that one go. Tanner hit Farrell pretty good along the boards, and the Crunch wants a timeout.
Well, you see a frustrated Hector Marinero, but a lot of games left in this series.
Bruce Miller will try and regroup the team. Final minute 15 seconds of this one, and on in the game 2. Shootout Magazine, the official magazine of the NPSL. You can obtain one of those sharp copies by sending $5, which includes postage and handling, to 229 3rd Street Northwest, Canton, Ohio, 44702.
Well, Shootout Magazine, this has certainly been a shootout here in game 1 as you see the rest of the telecast schedule for the NPSL finals. And game 2 right back here, and then they'll go to Cleveland for 2 at the Convocation Center, and then if necessary games 5, 6, and 7. Kansas City with the home field advantage, and Cleveland's going to have to try to come back in game 2 and tie it at 1-1 so they get home field advantage themselves going back to Cleveland. And there you see Otto Orff, who shaking his head now, but certainly played a strong game. And saying that, has given up 26 points, but as you said, Ed, it could have been a lot worse than that had it not been for Otto.
It's all over but the shouting here in game 1. Kansas City does their part to hold home field advantage through this first one. Phillips is going to look for a goal. Will he get it? No, Marinero has to catch another gear. He stopped it. Lofton scored. Brian Lofton with his 5th goal of the game. Makes it 28-18. Lofton with 4 twos, a 3, and an assist. 12 points for the second-year player.
And Phillips with his 2nd consecutive assist. You see Hector with a good effort to keep it out, but Lofton right there.
They're going to call that unassisted, I think, maybe because Hector actually got a piece of it, swatted it out. But officially, it's unassisted.
Well, you have 24 hours to change that. And, you know, you look at the NHL, we just saw a promo, and they give 2 assists for anything. And in this league, it's hard to get an assist when it actually is an assist. But Cleveland's going to abandon the 6th attacker now in the last 40 seconds.
Well, Brian Lofton had 10 points in 7 games coming in. He had 12 tonight, so he has more than doubled his point total. 25 seconds, the Kansas City attack.
Well, it's like the NFL here, shaking hands while the clock runs down.
The third quarter saw 20 points scored, 13 of them by the Kansas City Attack. They opened up an 11-11 tie. Took a 20-11 lead before Kansas City, or before the Crunch stopped that run. Goran Hunyak, Scott Schweitzer, and Jason Farrell. Zoran Savic is one step closer to an NPSL championship as his guys take a victory lap after a big win in Game 1. Coming up next, ESPN 2's NBA Tonight. Stay tuned for that. For Art Kramer, I'm Ed Vasinik saying so long from Kemper Arena. We'll see ya in Game 2.